Some kinds of tired don't come from doing too much. They come from carrying something you never put down. Let's sit with one of those. You did the thing. You cleared the weekend. You didn't answer anything. You didn't schedule anything. You turned things down on purpose and went to bed early like you were told. And on Monday morning you woke up and felt exactly the same. Maybe a little worse, because now there's evidence. You rested and it didn't take. And somewhere quiet in you, a small voice did the math and landed on the only answer it could find. Then it's me. Then the problem is me. That's the part I want to sit with, because that quiet verdict is almost always wrong, and it's costing you more than the tiredness is. The usual story is that you rested wrong, not long enough, not properly, whatever properly means. Too much scrolling, not enough nature, you should have meditated. So the next time you're tired, you try to rest harder, and it slides off again, and you quietly file it as more evidence against yourself. Here's what most people are never told about this. Your mind wasn't waiting to be refilled. It was waiting to be told what happens next. So by the end of this, you'll know why rest keeps sliding off you, why a whole weekend can leave you exactly as tired as you started, and the one small move that actually sets the weight down. It isn't doing more. I promise you, it isn't doing more. Here's what's actually happening. Rest is the answer to one specific question. Are you depleted? Did you spend more than you had? And do you need to sit down? When that's the real question, rest works. You know it works because you felt it fix the ordinary tired, the good tired, the kind a bath and an early night genuinely mend. But the tired we're talking about isn't that. This one isn't a low battery. It's a tab left open. Somewhere in you, something isn't finished. A decision you haven't made, a message you haven't sent, a conversation you can feel coming, and an unfinished thing doesn't wait politely in a drawer until you're ready. It stays a little bit on, quietly, in the background, drawing a thin, constant line of attention, whether you're at your desk or lying completely still with your eyes closed. And here's the first. Oh, that's why. You weren't failing to rest. You were resting a system that still had 11 things running. That's not a malfunction. That's a mind doing exactly what it's built to do. Notice what those open loops actually are, because they're sneakier than a to-do list. A to-do list you can see, these you mostly can't. It's the message from someone you love that you've read and not answered, getting a little heavier every day. It's the appointment you need to move and keep not moving. It's the thing you said you'd look into. It's the conversation you're already faintly rehearsing. The bill, the birthday, the form. None of them are hard. That's the trick of them. Each one is small enough to ignore and unfinished enough to stay switched on. And there's research on exactly this. And it's kinder than you'd expect. People were given a goal they hadn't finished, then sent off to do something unrelated. Read, work a puzzle. And the unfinished goal followed them. It pushed into their thoughts. It made them worse at the thing in front of them. Then, the researchers changed one thing. They let some people write a specific plan for the unfinished goal. Not do it, just decide when and where and how. And the intrusion stopped. Same task, still undone. But once it had been told what happens next, it stopped standing in the doorway. Sit with that, because it's close to the whole thing. What quieted the loop wasn't finishing it. It was deciding it. So the reason your weekend didn't work isn't that you're bad at resting. Rest was never the tool for this. You can't rest your way out of an open loop any more than you can sleep your way out of a question. The loop doesn't want your energy. It wants a decision. And this is where the shame quietly lifts if you let it. Because I can't even rest properly becomes something far more reasonable. I've been carrying a dozen undecided things into every quiet moment, and no amount of quiet was ever going to close them for me. One of those is a story about a broken person. The other is a person with a lot of open tabs and a very normal brain. Neither makes you lazy. Only one of them is true. The catch, and I want to be honest with you here, is that your mind can tell the difference between a real decision and a wish. Deal with it soon does almost nothing, because soon is just a loop wearing a hat. The thing has to land somewhere. A when, a where, a first step small enough to be real. So what do you do with this? Not a system. I'm not going to hand you a morning routine and a color-coded life. That's the exact thing you've been burned by. And honestly, it would just become one more open loop you're failing at. Here's the one small thing worth holding on to instead. The next time you're resting and it isn't landing, when you're lying down and something in you still won't switch off, don't reach for more rest. Don't try to relax harder. Just ask, gently, what's still open. Take the single loudest one and give it a win. Not a solution, not a plan for your whole life. A win. I'll send that Tuesday morning. I'll move the appointment at lunch. Say it like you mean it, because your mind can tell. And if, when I said what's still open, 4 things arrived at once before I'd finished the sentence, that's not a sign you're behind. That's just the count. That's how many small things you've been carrying into every room, including the ones you walked into to rest. You don't owe your rest a better performance. You never did. You owe your open loops a decision, and then you're allowed to put them down. 2 small, quiet things before we land this. If this put words to a tired you've never quite been able to explain. A like is just how the next person lying awake at the end of their weekend finds it too. And subscribing means the next one of these finds its way back to you in your own time. And if you named your loudest open loop just now, even only to yourself, leave it in the comments or leave it exactly where it is. Either way, you're not the only one who's been tired like this. And if you want the version of this you can actually hold, the 5 loops on 1-page version, the one I use when the quiet won't come. That's this week's sticky note letter. 1 page, it stays on paper, linked right below. I'd love to have you there. You were never bad at resting. You were just never told to close the tabs first. I'll see you next time.